What's going on? It's your boy CJ Goodfella, early morning grind. Let's enter that boxing clinic talk. Now, Team Gerald Washington, specifically his trainer John Pullman, who was speaking out on Jarrell Big Baby Miller with concerns that, he's juicing, he's using steroids, performance enhancing drugs. And, in 2014, Jarrell Big Baby Miller, the heavyweight, was suspended by the California State Athletic Commission for a performance-enhancing drug. I can't pronounce it, but it's also known as energy booster. That's his alias as well. And it was responsible for 5 deaths. So it's very dangerous as well. It was took off the market voluntarily in 1983. I'll leave an article link in the description so you can check it out and research it for yourself. This is back in 2014. And I didn't know Miller used to be a kickboxer as well. I think that might have been where he got busted for it at. I'm not sure. But the details is at in an article. The website is MMA Mania that has the story. California suspended him for 9 months. So John Pullman is speaking out about it now, a week before the fight, which is crazy, right? He's basically saying that, they're not doing random drug testing here. And one thing that I did notice yesterday, I was looking at the boxers who didn't enter the WBC mandated random drug testing with VADA, their partnership with VADA. And it was 2 names at heavyweight that hadn't entered back in January, and it was Luis Ortiz and it was Jarrell Big Baby Miller. And with his history of, failing a drug test, I guess that raised concern with John Pullman. I guess before you signed the dotted line, you had your fighter sign the dotted line, y'all should have been aware of that. And they probably was aware of it. But, Pullman said there was no concern with Wilder fight because Wilder's WBC champion. Anybody in the top 15 that subject to the VADA testing, they did the VADA testing. Everything was smooth. Everybody tested clean. So there's no hanging your hat, no excuse making there. But in this fight, it's not. Jarrell Big Baby Miller is obviously still not in the top 15 because he's obviously didn't want to do the random drug testing. And that's raising concern and raising eyebrows with Team Washington. And now they speaking about it a week before the fight to boxing scene. Like I said, I'm leaving the article link in the description. And that's crazy. Like I said with the Charlo thing and the J-Rock thing, if you want these guys to do random drug testing, they don't want to do random drug testing, don't take the fight. Because at the end of the day, you're better to be safe than sorry. Since O's and losses, and I don't understand Washington got 1 loss. Since it's all important, very important to your career, why risk taking a loss to a guy that got an unfair advantage, or you believe had an unfair advantage, especially when they have a history of doping up, in Miller. So that's just the God honest truth right there, man. Because at the end of the day, he gonna make these excuses, and they gonna say all this shit after the fight. Wasn't no random drug testing. He looked like this, he looked like that. And, you took the fight under those pretenses. All these circumstances, you agreed to the fight. That's on you and your team. You can't fault him. You couldn't make the VADA testing happen. If you couldn't get random drug testing in there, walk away from the fight. I understand it's a big opportunity. They trying to capitalize off of a solid performance versus Deontay Wilder, and this is a good opportunity to get to the next level. But at the end of the day, health over wealth. Real stuff. And the thing about it is, John Pullman went a step further. The trainer of Washington, he went a step further, saying that, he still thinks Miller is on something because he's his mind. He's very emotional. He's very, he's very, he just said he's very emotional. He's very, his attitude, his mind. He said you could tell it seems like he's potentially on something. Now this could be just talk to get in Miller's head, but he said you could tell that the way he acts, he seems like he's on steroids. He seems like he's on edge. I'm paraphrasing here, and you can read more about it in the boxing scene article. I'm linked to the description. And I can't fault them for being wary about it, but he did say they're gonna be testing them. The management told them they're gonna be testing both fighters the day before the fight, and obviously the New York State Athletic Commission, they test them after the fight. So I don't know, even if, Miller fails the test, you think they're going to take that fight off the card? I don't think so, especially with Trout and Jerry Swift Hurd being pushed back to September 30th. I don't see that. just honestly, I don't see them taking this fight off the card. Now, after the fight, he might learn something. They might get a no contest, but the damage is already done if you get knocked out or lose. People still going to remember you for losing. Don't care if it's a no contest or not. You done took a lot of unfair ass whooping, unfair beating. So, I don't want to hear no complaining. You should have got the VADA testing. If not, just, play the hand you've been dealt. We gone.